Well, they just found a cop guilty of murder. They just came up with the verdict that a cop was guilty of murder in the case of George Floyd. Now, this is not the first cop that's been found guilty of murder, but there's very few. So let's say there's 1,000+ police killings, and one guy gets found guilty of murder. So the question is it going to change anything? Is this guy, this cop, getting found guilty of murder, is it going to change any? Is it going to change anything? And the answer to that question, unfortunately, is no. Well, hold on. It will change some things. It will change a couple things. It will definitely change the level of control that you're under. You're going to be under a stricter level of control. You're going to be under more control, not less. You're not going to get freer from this particular outcome. You aren't going to become more free because the cop got found guilty. During the actual trial, cops killed another guy in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, in the same place that George was killed, the same state. Another guy was killed during the trial of the cop. So if you think something's going to change, well, that shows you right there. Now, having said that, the people that are controlling you, that I call the Black Death cult, but that's irrelevant. The people who control you use mechanisms for control. The number one mechanism for control is violence. Now, they deliver the violence to you under a guise, under a disguise. Because if they told you, oh, we're just going to violence you anytime we want to, we're just going to take all your stuff anytime we want to, we're just going to kill you anytime we want to. If they told you that, you might say, well, hold on a second. I may not want that. So the violencers disguise the violence using ideas of safety. This is actually going to make you safer. This is going to make your world better. So what could change is that the people in control of you are going to be able to usher in the form of control quicker because of these type cases. And I say that because the cop becomes faulty. We can't stop the police from killing people. They're human. They make mistakes. They're human. They make mistakes. So we, no matter how much legislation we pass, We cannot fix the human element of a police interaction. And so, what does that mean? It means we don't use humans for any more police interactions. We use robots. So the idea that a human being is flawed and a human being is going to continue being flawed and continue killing people in the line of duty, the answer therefore becomes not that we eradicate police, not that we stop people from controlling you, but we control you with a different mechanism. And then you add into it qualified immunity. This is a video by a company called The Reveal, and they talk about qualified immunity. This is episode 73. Qualified immunity means a cop can never be prosecuted for anything. If he steals, confiscates your goods, steals them, and doesn't return them or breaks them, doesn't matter. He's got immunity. You ever heard of immunity in a plea deal? Well, he testifies for immunity, which means he doesn't get prosecuted. Just put that on cops. They have what's called qualified immunity, which means they're cops, they get immunity. So if they come into your business and arrest you and shut your business down for a day, they don't owe you anything. They can't get prosecuted for it. If they beat you up and knock your teeth out, they don't get prosecuted. If they kill you, they don't get prosecuted. If they break your bike, if they break your tools, if they break your case here, they don't get prosecuted. Now, you may be able to sue them for the money, and a year later, 2 years later, you may get money for your case from the city, from the state, from a police fund. But this guy doesn't get prosecuted for destroying your property. The cop never gets prosecuted. That's qualified immunity. So in this George Floyd case, they're trying to pass a bill where they take the qualified immunity from the police officer. Now, if that happens, you're going to get less people who want to be cops because they no longer have qualified immunity. So they're not going to want to do the job. Now, if you put these two things together, you are going to get a robot. You are going to get a robot now because no cop's going to want to do the job because he hasn't got qualified immunity. And when the cop does the job, he's a flawed human being. He's flawed. He's capable of error. So they're going to roll in the robots. Here's a robot right here working with New York City Police Department. New York City Police uses a robot dog. Look at that. Walking next to the cops, the robot dog. There he is. And right now it's working with people. Cops are all around it. But in the future, these guys aren't going to be here. They're not going to be anywhere around. This robot dog's going to be there to run you down. They're going to have a walking robot there to escort you or make sure. They're going to have drones flying over you 10 at a time, making sure you don't run. And then they're going to bring in this machine right here that you're going to get into. They're going to put you into a robo car, into a self-driving robot car, and deliver you to the police station. You're going to go into a locked garage, into a secure garage area where there will be more robots. You will exit the vehicle and they will incarcerate you. They will have you under complete control. That's where this is going. 100%. 100%. It could take 80 years. I'll personally be dead long before they completely take over. But they will 100% be using robots as a security force. They will 100% be using robots as cops. Guaranteed 100%. Because the cops are flawed. They make mistakes and kill people. And they will have no qualified immunity. So nobody's going to do the job. So if you want to know what's going to change after this George Floyd trial, is the mechanism for putting a robot on the street is going to be introduced. It's already being introduced. You're already being told, look, cops are bad people. Cops are making mistakes. Cops are killing people. You know, you don't want them in your community. You don't want them around. They're bad. Defund them. So what's the answer? Put in something that doesn't make a mistake. Put in a robot cop. Put in a robot cop, a robot dog, a drone cop to chase you. So now just picture it. You are a perpetrator. You are a perp. You are a suspect. And the cops, the local cops, put out drones with AI in them. The drones already know what they're looking for. They're looking for you. You might have a cell phone signal on you that they trace. You might have facial recognition that they trace. You might have just a location that they trace, a description that they trace. Doesn't matter. A citizen could call you. Yeah, he's down here on the street right there. Some kind of communication network that shows the drone where you are. Then they bring out the dog via some sort of machine. The machine lets the dog loose on the street. The machine lets the Robo Cop, the standing cop, on the street. Drones are flying overhead. They're all armed with rubber bullets, with tear gas, with possibly a tranquilizer. Certainly real bullets. And who knows what else? I mean, this dog could throw something at you like a bolo that whips around your feet, could throw a net over you. Possibilities are endless. And then you get thrown back into the vehicle, the electric vehicle. You get thrown into a self-driving vehicle. And you get locked in there, just like you get locked in the back of a cop car. It's just there's going to be no cop in the front of it to drive you to the station. There's going to be a robot. an autopilot that's going to drive you to the cop station. And then you're going to be unloaded in the cop station and incarcerated, and then they're going to deal with you. So, what's going to change from this George Floyd uh, verdict? You're still going to be controlled. You're still going to be under law. You're still going to be told exactly what to do. You're going to be told when to do it. You're going to be told how you can do it. You're going to be completely controlled, and the noose of control is going to become tighter, not looser. The noose of control is going to get tighter. This verdict is not going to lead to freedom. This verdict is not going to lead to you being able to walk the streets and do whatever you want to. This verdict is not going to lead to you being a more free person. This verdict is going to lead to the inevitable, which is robot police force, robot cops, robot security. Think about it right now. What are cameras? Cameras are there for security. They are robots. A camera is a robotic mechanism working on its own. You have a drone mechanism. You have a robot dog mechanism. You have a robot upstanding mechanism that can walk. And then they enforce the law on you. And there's going to be, think about how many dog robots you could build as compared to how many dogs you can train. You can build a massive, massive force of robot dogs without training. You don't need a kennel. They have a longer lifespan. They don't need to have years of training. They don't need to have a one specific handler. It's ideal. And then when you have a robot cop that walks around, what? He can't get killed. If he gets taken out, you can build another one. You don't have to have people volunteering. You don't have to pay them. You know how much cops get paid in some cities? You don't have to pay them. You just build it. The cost is done. So if it costs you 30 grand to build a cop robot, cops pay for 1 year is more than that. That's 1 year. So you pay that cop for 20 years, you're paying a lot of money. You build a robot for 30 grand and then you maintain it for, let's say, $500 a year, $1,000 a year for a new battery, whatever. You're saving a lot of money. So the robot police force is coming 100%, 100%. And something like this George Floyd verdict is going to do nothing but speed it up. So anyway, I mean, good luck to us.